Hey, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show, making it the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel right here is where I put all of my episodes from all of my different shows, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. So, about 10 years ago, I did an episode called Pregnancy and Childbirth in Tudor England. And it became the first kind of viral episode I had. A lot of people listened to it. It became my most popular episode. And actually led to I did a course on it, which is still available. It just became something that people were interested in. And I thought it was kind of funny that well, it wasn't funny. I did that episode then because I had recently had a child of my own. Today, we are going to talk about menopause. So, for the men in the audience, just know we're going to be talking about some lady stuff. All right. And, honestly, it would be cool for you, especially if you are in a relationship with, a person who is possibly going to experience this. It would be cool to know the history. You can get some super good bonus points if you go up to the woman in your life and say, "Oh, I learned today about the history of menopause that blah, 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 blah. And, we're going to talk about it." You know, that would lead to some, I don't know, maybe the ladies can chime in here, but if my husband came home and said, "Heather, what I think is so interesting is that for almost 2000 years, people viewed menopause through the lens of Galen and the ancient Romans and, the humors and all of that. Isn't that interesting?" I would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's cool." Because what happens to a lot of women as we start to go through this? We get these symptoms and we get this stuff happens. And a lot of people gaslight us about it. They say, "Oh, that's just in your head, or you're just tired, or, you're just moody, or maybe you need more coffee, or blah, 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 blah." And you know what? That's not the case. So we're going to talk about menopause. Before we get started, though, if you would like more Tudor history in your YouTube feed, why not go ahead and hit subscribe so you never miss a video that I put out? So one thing that I think is kind of interesting about this period in a woman's life is, especially for the Tudors, a woman's worth was so often tied so clearly to her ability to have a child. So for us today, menopause marks a biological transition. And, there's some of that, especially when you get hormonal, like, "Oh, I'm not going to have another baby." Blah, 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 blah. But in the Tudor period, it was like that on steroids, right? So there was a whole host of cultural, medical, moral implications. So we are going to talk about how the Tudors understood and misunderstood this universal experience. To understand how the Tudors viewed menopause, we first need to visit the world of humoral theory, a medical framework inherited from the ancient Greeks and Romans. According to this theory, the body was governed by count them, four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Health relied on maintaining the right balance of these fluids, which is why you would see people being bled when they had the common cold, right? Because there was too much of a buildup of that. So menstruation was believed to expel poisonous blood and maintain that humoral balance. But what happened when menstruation stopped? To Tudor physicians, this signaled a dangerous imbalance, a buildup of toxins that could pollute the entire body. Symptoms like hot flashes and irritability were proof that the humors were out of alignment. My humor is out of alignment a lot these days, but that's a different story. Anyway, the remedies were as dramatic as the diagnosis. Physicians might prescribe bloodletting or herbal purgatives, including concoctions of saffron, myrrh, or even the infamous hellebore. What was hellebore? Black hellebore was a plant with a long history in medieval and ancient medicine. It was a purgative, and so it would induce vomiting. It was infamous because while it was a potent treatment for various ailments, was also highly toxic and could cause severe side effects or even death if improperly administered. It was in gynecological use. It was recommended for menstrual irregularities and reproductive issues, including things associated with menopause. Because it was so dangerous, it was also, and because a lot of premenstrual because a lot of menopausal women had used it, it was also associated with witchcraft. So, yay for that. These treatments, rooted in ancient texts, reflected the ongoing belief that women's bodies were inherently unstable, requiring constant intervention to maintain equilibrium. Of course, in Tudor England, a woman's fertility was central to her identity. Marriage alliances, family lineage, and economic security often depended on her ability to bear children, as did the succession of the kingdom. So, what happened when that ability ended? Postmenopausal women were often seen as stepping outside of the natural order. Without the potential for childbearing, they were often cast as jealous, bitter, or even dangerous. Popular belief held that these women, who would be envious of younger mothers, might use the evil eye to cause infertility or even miscarriages. Because that's the thing. His fear, I'm a little bit snarky today, if you can't tell. This fear found its darkest expression in the witch hunts. Of course, older, infertile women, especially those who remained sexually active, that was a big old no-no once you were menopausal, were often accused of witchcraft. Their supposed unnatural desires, coupled with their inability to fulfill societal expectations, made them prime targets for suspicion. These women were often seen as dangerous because they were no longer tied to the traditional roles of motherhood. So they were perceived as free agents. And that freedom was very frightening to most people, probably even to themselves a little bit. But the story of menopause in Tudor society wasn't just one of fear and condemnation. There was another, quieter narrative at play: the rise of the wise woman. That's what I want to be. Post-menopausal women, particularly, I can talk, those who were widowed or no longer bound to child rearing, sometimes carved out roles as healers or counselors in their communities. Their knowledge of herbal remedies and their life experience made them invaluable, even as male physicians sought to discredit them. Yet, even this respect came with limits. As male-dominated medicine professionalized during the early modern period, these wise women were increasingly seen as competitors, or worse, very dangerous relics of a superstitious past. Tudor physicians argued that relying on their remedies could cause more harm than help, and that further marginalized women's roles in healthcare. By the 18th and 19th century, menopause itself began to take on new meanings, often framed as a moral reckoning. Women who experienced severe symptoms were often blamed for having led improper lives. The so-called youthful indiscretions that they were being punished for ranged from eating spicy foods to reading novels, ooh, gasp, to drinking alcohol, or even, gosh darn it, having a libido after the socially acceptable age of 40. Gasp. This shift marked a transition from outright fear of menopausal women to a more paternalistic judgment of their lives. The focus was less on witchcraft and more on controlling their behavior. But the underlying message remained the same: women were to blame for their own physical changes. Despite these challenges, many women found ways to navigate this phase of life with agency and resilience. Some embraced the freedom that came with the end of the childbearing years, stepping into roles of leadership or mentorship. Others relied on the traditional remedies and sought solace in their faith and their communities. Ultimately, the Tudor perspective on menopause offers a fascinating glimpse into how deeply gender, medicine, and society have shaped the way that we view aging. For Tudor women, menopause wasn't a biological event. It was a moment that redefined a woman's place in the world, often in ways that were limiting, but could sometimes be empowering. Interestingly, the word menopause itself didn't actually come about until 1821. Um, and it was finally readily acknowledged in the 1960s. But even then, it was in the context of how irritating it was to men, because of course it was. And there was a doctor in the 1960s called Robert A. Wilson who described menopausal women as, I kid you not, castrates. So that's fun. So yeah, you guys, this is a great time of life. This is an amazing time of life. I have no filter anymore. I say all of the stuff that's on my mind. I yelled at somebody at Target recently because they cut in line in front of a young mama who had a baby. So to start with, Target is like a safe space for mamas, right? You don't like Target is like our spot. Target is like I mean, like, look, obviously everybody can go to Target, but it's especially a safe space for mamas. And then this guy, like, just cut right in line of this woman who had a baby. And I was like, do you want me to, like, go tell him? She's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't make a fuss. And I was like, no, I haven't reached perimenopause, like, to waste all of these hot flashes on not being able to tell people like this when they butt in line that, that they butt in line. And like, I, I'm gonna so, like, if I'm gonna go through the hot flashes, like, the reward for that has to be that I lose my filter and I can just tell everybody everything. So I yelled at this guy and he acted like he didn't even know what was going on. And I was like, yeah, that's like my whole point is that you're totally oblivious to the fact that you just cut in line in front of this woman. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, yeah, I'm really clear on that. And that's what I'm telling you is that you what's going on, and you just got in line in front of a mama with a baby. And then the mama felt really embarrassed, and I was like, Johnny, you shouldn't feel maybe you didn't cut in line. Anyway, so it's a really great thing. So if you are a younger woman who is looking forward to someday experiencing the magic that is perimenopause, what I can tell you is that in many ways, it is like puberty, going through puberty all over again. However, without the energy and the body of a 16-year-old, and with the added pressures of having dependents and having bills and, being tired all the time, which is why we drink coffee. So that's fun. So anyway, that's my little story on menopause. If you would like me to dig into different aspects on that more deeply and actually maybe do a whole episode on it, let me know in the comments because there's not a ton of research out there on it. Surprise, surprise. I really am snarky today, but there is enough to do, a longer deep dive episode, and I would be happy to do that if there was interest. If you're a guy and you had to sit through this, congratulations, you made it through. Well done. Although we get to live it. So, well done us too. Um, in the meantime, I realized it's been a while since I showed you guys my pens or talked about my pens, and this channel does have pens in the name. So I did some sorting because I got a new mug, and I'm going to show you. So this is a new mug that's in my shop right now that says, sorry, I can't, I'm fully booked. And see, it's a nice little Tudor library. But then I put some of my favorite pens. I have a really hard time choosing my favorite pens because as you can see, I have many pens and there's many more in various places. I'm kind of obsessed. But I will share with you, I went to a pen store in New York. It was like one of those Japanese stationery stores that sells all kinds of fun pens that you can't get other places. So I got this, but it's not a needlepoint. I'm really all about the needlepoint. So I'm not as crazy about it, but that was pretty cool. This is super fine and has a needlepoint. And then this one, check this one out. Ooh, I'm a big fan of this one. And then I was at a work event in Toronto and I got a bunch of Muji pens. Oh, I love Muji pens. And when I lived in London, I went to Muji all the time. Interestingly, on September 11th, 2001, I was in the Muji on Carnaby Street over my lunch break as the stuff was happening in New York. I came back from my lunch break and all of my friends were messaging me, asking me if I was okay. And I was like, what? I was just in Muji on Carnaby Street. So yeah, I have a long relationship with Muji. I've got more. Muji has these like clicker pens now. They're fun. And this is the stuff that makes me happy, you guys, like going through my pens. I love all the different colors with the Muji. I love the Muji notebooks. I've got a bunch of Muji notebooks, those craft ones. I'm a big fan of those too. They make me so happy. They make me so happy. Oh, Muji notebooks. I love them. And they make refillable Muji pens too now, where you buy the case and then you can get all the refills. So I got a bunch of them. Oh, this is a fancy Muji pen. This was like $4 or something. Normally Muji pens are like less than $1 or $1. And this one was expensive, but you can refill it with the refills. It's just like, it's so, as my daughter says, it's just aesthetic. It's just super aesthetic. So yeah, these are the pens I'm using these days. This is a Muji one too. I like these Pilot ones because they are metallic. I really like how that looks. Don't use them that often though. Anyway, there we go. We talked about pens. Here's some more Mujis. But I really like this mug. And so now I had to figure out which of my pens would go in the mug right next to my computer in my nice big mug. Sorry, I can't. I'm fully booked. I'm fully booked, you guys. I'm fully booked too. Happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up, American friends. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday. Absolutely favorite holiday. And I'm starting to go nowhere fast with this, so we will end it. This started out as a talk on menopause. It turned into Heather talking about her pens. I can figure out some other fun things on my desk to show you. Would you like to see some other fun things on my desk? I have these protein Pop-Tarts. They're like Pop-Tarts, but they're protein. They taste like a rubber Pop-Tart. They're what I snack on. They're kind of good. I mean, they're good for what they are. They have 20 grams of protein and only 4 grams of sugar. And no, less than 1 gram of sugar. What's that? 4 grams net carbs. Anyway, I wouldn't call them good, but for what they are, they're good. And so, yeah, that's something else that's fun on my desk. This went nowhere fast. Anyway, look, if you made it to the end of this video somehow and you're still here and you liked it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps to feed the algorithm and get this content to even more people. And I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out videos like this. Sometimes on the regular, sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's different. We never know. It's always an adventure. But hey, thank you so much for being here. If you would like to continue binging Tudor content, can check out this episode that I did. It's the original Pregnancy and Childbirth in Tudor England episode that I did about 10 years ago now. Here is a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Also, if you join the channel, you get extra content, extra episodes, courses, discounts on all my merch and products. So join the channel if you would like to have even more Tudor in your life. You are deeply loved. I'm so glad I shared the planet with you. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to drink your water. All right. Have a good one, guys.